Breech is going to give us a kicking breakdown of all the things that happened before this game.
Oh yeah,
Zane Gonzalez, right? Wasn't it Zane Gonzalez?
It was Zane Gonzalez. You know,
Yeah. Zane Gonzalez hurts his quad in warmups, and they have this video leading up to the game where Zane Gonzalez is like, "Oh my god, I can't kick."
Okay,
so
yeah, shot.
They drag out PJ Walker.
Brandon, they had guys lined up. It was like third grade kickball, and just next.
Out, see who could kick the best because they had an emergency kicker situation.
I have a question, Breech, after you describe what happened.
Go ahead, Breech. Break it down.
So you have Zane Gonzalez in warmups. He's kicking a field goal. He follows through, and all of a sudden he just like keels over, and that is the last thing you want to see from your kicker. You can see like 5 Panthers trainers just rush to him, like, "Oh God, our kicker is probably not going to be able to play this game." And you could see their like thought process going like, "Oh God, we don't have another kicker on the roster. What the heck are we going to do?" So the Panthers decide. Gonzalez ended up having a quad injury, got ruled out of the game, and I guess Matt Rule's like, "Guys, we don't have a kicker, so we need to have some impromptu tryouts right now." So they're rolling out like a running back, a linebacker, a wide receiver.
Their backup quarterback.
PJ Walker, as Brinson mentioned, all these guys are literally putting a football on a tee because they need someone to kick off.
And if you watch the clips of what they show where this is all happening, behind them is basically the entire Bills team. There's like, what the hell is going on? What are these clowns doing?
Yeah, the Bills are like, this isn't practice, bro. This is an actual game. This is not like a preseason where you just let random people kick. And if you're the Panthers, you're thinking, yeah, well, we can go for it on 4th down. We don't have to kick field goals. We can go for 2-point conversions, but you do need a kicker because you have to kick off at some point, at least once, even if you get shut out. So you need someone who can do that. And so, it was just, it was ridiculous.
Brandon Zylstra kicked off the second half.
Yes.
And it was like the camera guy who does this for a living constantly,
or woman,
every week is, follow the kicker as he runs up and then shoot up. And all of a sudden he's like, "Oh crap, it's a wide receiver." And he pans down, this worm burners are flying like through the ground. I mean, I know a bunch of people, this is smart. I wish I thought of this. I was late to the scene, but a bunch of people bet no under Carolina field goals. You bet the game will end in an even. The Panthers team total will be even score because they're going to go for every 2-point conversion. They're not going to get, there'd be no odd numbers. They made a bunch of money doing it. That's a really fascinating, sequence of wagering.
And it really, and also it kind of changed the complexion of the game because like the Panthers drove down the field their first 2 drives, and at least one of them they would kick the field goals. They had a 4th and 9 from Buffalo's 24.
Yep.
And they ended up going. I mean, it's 4th and 9. You're kicking a field goal. But unless you don't have a kicker, then you're going for it, and they didn't get it. And so that was 3 points they left on the board. I think it happened again in the second half. So they had at least 3 drives where they would have gotten field goals when this was a close game. I mean, this game was, 17-8 until late in the third quarter. So, you give yourself those 2 or 3 field goals, and you're only down or at 17-17.
Yeah, so, I think this is sorry, go ahead, Wilson.
Oh, a couple things. Number one, it's pretty hard to actually pull your quad kicking a football or anything. It's sort of weird to pull. Like you can like tweak your hammy or maybe your calf, but the front of your leg is sort of weird. Number one. Number two, this reflects extremely poorly on Matt Rule. Now, I don't know if the 31 other teams don't have plans for game day kicking situations, but I'll bring it back to what I always bring it back to.
What would Bill Belichick have?
What would Bill Belichick do?
Right.
And he has a Wes Welker on the roster.
And no kicker? Come on.
Doug Flutie can drop kick it. I mean, you can go down the list of things, and I would say if you know that you only have one kicker that's going to be ready, I would take 5 minutes out of practice once or twice a week and have some randos just kick so you have an idea, so you're not scrambling a conga line 5 minutes before kickoff to sort of sort this out.
Well, most teams do have someone kick. Like Odell Beckham can kick. It's surprising.
It's just like you look like a moron.
Dalvin Sue made an extra point. Chad Johnson can kick. Anyone can kick. You got no one else on the roster that can kick, man.
Well, usually they give the job to the punter. So if a kicker gets hurt, you'll have the punter kick off or kick field goals. But special situation for the Panthers. Their punter, Lachlan Edwards, is from Australia, where they don't do place kicking there. All you do is punt because you're playing rugby. So
but they do drop kicks, I think, don't they?
He's never place kicked a football. I'm sure he's tried to place it. But anyway,
But you can drop kick it. That's my point. You can drop kick it. I think they do drop kicks in Australia. You can drop kick it.
I think Michael Dixon drop kicked the kick. Whatever. I guess the Panthers didn't want to do that, and Lachlan Edwards did not kick off, even though he was the punter.
I agree completely. One, Matt Rule, it reflects poorly on him. And then two, I think the Bills are in this weird, like, little funked up headspace thing over, and they're playing at the Patriots next week, where it starts with that windy game in New England. Then you have the Tampa Bay game where they're, Sean McDermott's crying at halftime. They make a miracle comeback, but still lose. And then look, this is I told Breech on the early odds show, which is in the feed now. This is a big game for Sean McDermott because he coached at Carolina for a long time. And I think they, even with no Ron Rivera there, he and Brandon Beane wanted to win this game. And now you're going back to New England. So it's like, I mean, I'm concerned about the Bills' headspace. And
by the way, I was wrong about the drop kicks. I'm getting crushed in the comments. Aussie Rules Football, no drop kicks. So my bad. But yeah,
Wilson, you've got to be on our Aussie Rules podcast before you're qualified to talk about the Aussie Rules.
I got out of my lane on that one. But yeah, to the point about the Bills, I mean, at least they won. Do you feel better about the Bills or the Titans right now?
Bills for sure. And I actually think Bills' futures are not crazy because they could get hot in the playoffs, but they haven't been, things are a little dicey the last few weeks for the Bills.